Let me ask you something. How is it that you can lose 3 hours scrolling through TikTok or binging a Netflix series in the blink of an eye? But when you try to sit down and read a book for 30 minutes or work on that project you know is important, it feels like torture. Here's a controversial truth for you. Your lack of focus isn't a personal failure. It's not that you're lazy or undisciplined. The truth is, your brain is being actively and systematically hijacked for profit. You are the product in a war for human attention, and big tech companies have become masters of psychological warfare. They use incredibly sophisticated techniques developed by neuroscientists to keep you hooked in a cycle of impulsive consumption. They are exploiting a deep-seated compulsion for quick rewards that you probably didn't even know you had, turning your own brain against you. This isn't just business, it's a heist, and your focus, your goals, and your time are what's being stolen. But what if I told you that you can not only stop this heist but also turn the tables? What if you could learn the hijacker's playbook and use their own strategies to get your mind back, becoming more focused and productive than ever before? The solution is surprisingly simple, and it's not about throwing your phone away. It's about understanding the system so you can finally break free from it. Stay with me, because I'm about to show you exactly how to do it. If you're serious about reprogramming your mind and taking back your life, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications. This is just the beginning, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever stopped to wonder why it feels like your phone has a mind of its own, pulling you in when you least expect it? It's not your imagination, and it's certainly not a lack of willpower. You're living in the middle of the attention economy, and your focus is the prize. We're talking about a deliberate, calculated process. A genuine brain hijacking designed by some of the smartest people in the world. They're not just selling ads. They're selling a piece of your mind. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't an accident. Tech companies pour millions into hiring neuroscientists to make their platforms as addictive as possible. They're using the exact same playbook that casinos in Las Vegas have used for decades to keep people glued to slot machines. Features like the infinite scroll or that little pull to refresh gesture aren't there for convenience. They're meticulously crafted triggers for releasing dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical. It's a clever hack of your own biology. The real secret sauce to this whole operation is a psychological principle called intermittent reinforcement. Think of a slot machine. You pull the lever never knowing if you'll win. That unpredictability is what makes it so devastatingly addictive. Social media works the same way. You refresh your feed, hoping for a reward, a new like, a funny video, a message. This mechanism makes your smartphone a weapon of mass distraction, arguably even more addictive than some hard drugs given how frequently we seek that hit. So this isn't just about wasting a few hours. This is a fundamental rewiring of your brain's reward system, conditioning you to crave constant, shallow stimulation. Every notification, every vibration is another pull on the lever, strengthening the chains of this digital addiction. The real question, then, is what happens to a brain, to a person, that's constantly under this kind of siege? What's the long-term cost of this neurological brain hijacking? Okay. So we've established that your brain is being played, but what's the real-world fallout from this? Well, just like any addiction, your brain starts to build up a tolerance. The little dopamine hits that used to feel good are no longer enough. You need more extreme, more novel, more intense stimuli just to feel normal. This constant chase is a one-way ticket to anxiety, depression, and a complete loss of focus. You're not imagining it. It's a real neurological consequence of this digital addiction. I highly recommend reading the book Dopamine Nation by Dr. Anna Lembke. She calls this phenomenon digital heroin, and honestly, it's the perfect description. We've become a society of addicts, constantly seeking the next hit from our screens, which leaves us in a state of chronic dissatisfaction. The pleasure we get is cheap and fleeting, but the emptiness it leaves behind is profound. It's a vicious cycle where the cure, more screen time, is actually the poison, making the consequences of addiction ever more severe. Now let's talk about the younger generation, because this is where the story gets truly alarming. Jonathan Haidt, in his book, The Anxious Generation, lays out some terrifying data. We're seeing an unprecedented epidemic of mental disorders in Gen Z, and it ties directly back to the rise of smartphones. We created this bizarre paradox where we overprotect our kids in the real world but give them a phone, leaving them completely unsupervised in the most hostile environment imaginable, the digital world. The result? A whole generation is growing up with what I call fragmented brains. Their ability to maintain deep focus and engage in critical thinking has been shattered by the constant barrage of notifications and short-form content. It's a full-blown generational crisis. It feels like we're fighting a losing battle, our minds hijacked and our focus shattered. But what if the first step to taking back control isn't some complex digital detox, but a simple, almost ancient tool you've probably overlooked? So what's this ancient tool I mentioned? It's something you probably have lying around right now, a simple physical agenda or planner. I know, it sounds almost too simple to be the solution, right? But stick with me. Your brain has a part called the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your internal CEO. It handles all your high-level planning, decision-making, and focus. The problem is it gets tired. When you try to keep all your tasks, ideas, and worries in your head, you're causing massive cognitive fatigue, making you an easy target for impulsive screen scrolling. This is where the magic of an agenda comes in. When you write everything down, you're essentially creating what I like to call a postfrontal cortex. You're outsourcing your memory to a physical object, freeing up immense amounts of mental energy. Suddenly, your brain's CEO isn't bogged down trying to remember to buy milk or reply to an email. This frees it up to do what it does best, make conscious, deliberate decisions instead of giving in to cheap impulses. It's the ultimate tool for mental liberation. And I mean write everything down. Don't just list your big appointments. Got a random idea for a project? Write it down. Remember you need to call your mom? Write it down. A book someone recommended? Write it down. One of the best systems for this is the bullet journal method, created by Ryder Carroll. It's a simple framework that turns any blank notebook into a powerful tool for organization. The goal is to build a trusted external system so your brain doesn't have to carry the load. This is why I always say that organization is the one habit that makes all other habits possible. It's the foundation. By getting your life onto paper, you reduce the mental chaos. That makes the digital world so appealing in the first place. You're clearing the fog, but okay, you've cleared the deck and freed up your mind. The impulse to grab your phone is still there, isn't it? The addiction is still wired in. How do you deal with that urge in the moment? How do you actually reprogram the bad habit itself? So, your mind is clearer thanks to your agenda, but that twitch, that deep-seated impulse to check your phone, is still there. Here's where most people go wrong. They try to use pure willpower. They say, I'm just going to stop. But let's be real. Simple prohibition doesn't work. Telling yourself not to do something often just makes you obsess over it more. The secret isn't to fight the urge head-on, it's to be clever and redirecting the impulse when it appears. Here's the trick, and it's a game changer. The next time you feel that mindless urge to grab your phone, create a tiny bit of space, just 30 seconds. That's all. This small pause is a buffer that allows your rational brain to catch up with your impulsive brain. In that short window, you don't argue with the feeling. You simply pivot. You acknowledge the urge and choose to point that energy somewhere else. This is the core of reprogramming your brain. You're not destroying the old path, you're building a new one. What does this look like in practice? When the impulse hits, stop. Take a deep breath. Then, do a tiny, useful action. Stand up and drink a glass of water. Do a simple stretch. Tidy up one single thing on your desk. Read one page of a book. The action itself is almost irrelevant. What matters is that you're breaking the old automatic cycle of feel urge, grab phone. You are intentionally choosing a different response, teaching your brain a new loop. To make this easier, you need to set up some hard, practical rules. First, turn off all non-essential notifications. You control your phone, it doesn't control you. Second, create sacred spaces and times. No phone in the bedroom. No phone at the dinner table. Third, make your phone less convenient to access. Leave it in another room while you work. By doing this, you're not just managing an addiction, you are actively reprogramming your brain, one small choice at a time, taking back the controls and building new habits. So, after everything we've talked about, I want you to leave with this one. Powerful idea. Your impulsive consumption is not a sign of weakness. It's not a character flaw. It is a learned pattern, a program that was installed in your brain without your permission. And the most beautiful thing about a program, it can be uninstalled and rewritten. The key to all of this is to consciously shift your identity from that of a passive consumer to an active creator. Here's a final protocol I want to challenge you with. From this moment on, every time you feel that familiar nagging urge to consume something useless, to open that app, to start that mindless scroll, I want you to create something in return. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Write one single honest sentence. Jot down one business idea. Do a single push-up. The point is to trade a moment of empty consumption for a moment of active creation. So I have to ask you, what could you actually build if you reclaimed all those stolen hours? Who could you become if you got addicted to your own purpose instead of to someone else's content? The power is no longer in their hands. It's in yours. Are you going to continue letting your life be dictated by algorithms, or are you ready to take back the controls and become the architect of your own attention?